PTC, and in all of these centres, when customers visit, they see PTC technology, but they see a lot of everybody else's technology. Some that we're involved in, some that we're not. And part of the value of these centres is that people that visit IIT here, they'll see our technology, but they're also going to see Rockwell's, and they're also going to see Beckhoff's as well. And that's a real value. And some of it we're involved with, some of it not. But the overall value of the visit is what we want for our customers. Here at UTC, the visit usually starts around CAD and PLM, and they have some very advanced PLM technologies, PLM demonstrators there, looking at e-BOM transformation, engineering BOM to manufacturing BOM, service BOM. They have digital mock-up across a range of different CAD environments, and also manufacturing process management. Of course, it extends to IoT, and they've got a very powerful connected hydraulics lab there, again, where ThingWorx is driving a lot of the automation. Just like here at IIT, we've also seen the students at UTC creating the demonstrators that we give, which is a fantastic recommendation for the capability of the students that they are delivering the demonstrations that PTC are giving on our technology. And we've got examples of that here at IIT as well. Now lastly, I want to introduce Stena Lab. Now, Stena Lab is a brand new centre at the University of Chalmers in Sweden. It was opened just last month. It's funded by the Stena Shipping Group, who are a Swedish privately owned, or a private family that owned the shipping company, and they funnel their profit into the university to further the growth of the sort of automation business inside the Nordics territories. So rather than listen to me, I'm just going to hand over for a quick video that's going to illustrate what they've done now.
In Sweden's industrial heartland in the centre of Gothenburg is the largest science park in the country, Lindholmen. Located here is Chalmers Stena Industry Innovation Lab.
Stena Industry Innovation Lab is a testbed within Production 2030, and in this testbed we are focusing on collaborative robots and final assembly. And we are doing this drone here in this drone factory, and we want to do a real product in order to illustrate hardware and software in this lab.
The drone factory is a realistic production system with a real product that includes the whole supply chain. Components are ordered from subcontractors performing milling, vacuum forming and additive manufacturing. The components are then turned into products through internal logistics and final assembly.
PTC support the drone factory with the software. The software is used both for digital definition, but also the digital definition of the process of building the drone.
When manufacturing gets more complex, operators need better support. This can come in different types of work instructions, personalized to the operator's own individual needs and preferences. Here at SciLab, we trialed 3 different types of instructions that support the operators in different ways.
With a completely digitized product design process, assembly instructions can be created automatically directly from the 3D models. The drone factory is a digital factory, where the physical system is modeled both as sensor data and as cyber-physical models, created in a game environment.
My work mostly focuses on to find out how manufacturing industry can benefit from the latest advancements in AR and VR. So, for example, how to use virtual reality for factory layout planning or training, as well as using augmented reality to support operators in maintenance or assembly tasks.
The drone factory adopts a modularized and event-driven system architecture. We use the Internet of Things platform ThingWorx to create virtual model of our physical systems, and we interconnect them and orchestrate the right data in the right place. In that way, we can create a very flexible production system.
collaborative robots are designed to work alongside human operators. They are very easy to program and light in weight, so they can move around quickly and easily. We in Scilab use collaborative robots to show how we can enable a higher degree of flexibility in production systems.
Technology alone is not enough to unlock the full potential of digitized production. The organization and the people within the factory need to be knowledgeable, empowered, and motivated to share information and knowledge. Both the people and the technologies are enablers for the fourth industrial revolution.
Okay, so hopefully that's given you a view on some of what's going on in some of our other centres. I think what's interesting is that, again, that was created in less than 9 months' worth of effort from the university and PTC and our other partners, but there's also a lot of similarities between what they've done there and what we're trying to achieve here at IIT with their miniature factory around the pneumatic valve block. So great examples there of how we implement and show Industry 4. I'm now going to just touch on our partner innovation labs very quickly. And as I said, these complement the transformation centres, but they're hosted by PTC's network of partners, and this includes software partners such as ANSYS, the simulation group, or it could be system integrators such as Capgemini, Cognizant, Wipro, all of which have very significant investments here in India. Now, the number of partners that we have in this ecosystem means that it's not practical to go through too many of the examples, but I'm just going to pick two today just to take you through typically what we're doing with them. And the first one, from a software partner perspective, we're going to talk about Microsoft. Now, we're invested there in their technology centers, and there's a number of those around the region, where we've invested in an Azure, so a cloud-based, using IoT Hub, an Azure-based demonstration environment around a connected rail use case. And it was based off work that we did with SNCF in France, which is their national rail carrier. In there, we've got a windshield environment that starts with that sort of digital thread that Professor Jar talked about, moving into the connected asset, the rolling stock, actually on the lines, and then looking at predictive maintenance, smart servicing scenarios. And of course, we've trained all of the Microsoft employees in those centers to deliver these demonstrations. So they're able to show Azure and ThingWorx together in the context of industrial IoT. And secondly, we have our system integrator labs. And I'm just going to pick, as I mentioned, one of these, and today we'll talk a little bit about Cognizant. Now, these are typically multi-use case centers where the company is illustrating how ThingWorx is used together with their consulting services to drive value for their customers. In Cognizant, we have industry-specific demonstrators around manufacturing, around energy, around high-tech, and also life sciences. And in their environment, you can see everything from the supply chain integration through IoT industrial connectivity, additive manufacturing, collaborative robots that we've talked about already a few times, and also digital twins and so forth in each of those specific industries. And of course, if you'd like to know more about any of those, just search on the system integrator, and there'll be links on their homepage to take you to their hubs. And lastly, let me introduce one of our customer reference centers. And again, this is a growing network of customers that we have around the region that are acting as references for PTC. But I want to focus on one specific success story that we've got here in India around Bharat Forge. Now, Bharat Forge, I'm sure, are known to almost all of you. They're one of the world's largest forging companies. Anybody that's driving a car today, the chances are the crankshaft or the con rods were probably stamped in a Bharat Forge factory somewhere around the globe. Now, they're a long-standing PTC customer, and under the guidance of their very visionary chairman, Baba Kalyani, they were one of the early adopters of ThingWorx, and early takers to understand, so what does IoT do for the factory? And once they'd proven that out in a couple of use cases, they took the decision that they wanted to develop their own internal lab to continue to understand more about what IoT can do for my business. Now, when we heard about this, we went back to Mr. Kalyani with an offer. In your lab, we'll allow you to have everything PTC has, free of charge. You take all our technology inside that laboratory to help you develop the use cases that are going to empower your business further down the line. In return, we simply want to be able to use this lab as a customer reference environment. And from our side, from within PTC, to be able to take a company to Barrett Forge and show industrial IoT in a living, breathing factory with the sensor data streaming off the machines here in India and around the globe, that is a fantastic story to tell. And a great example of, again, what can be achieved with a really visionary company, some fantastic leadership, and also a lot of hard work from our team here in India as well. So great story. Now, lastly, I just want to talk about, if we're successful with all of this, and we bring it all together, what does it look like? What does Industry 4 adoption look like in the industrial world? So I'm just going to hand over for a quick video just to share with you what's going on at BAE Systems in North America.
There's huge growth in this market, but it is unsustainable unless we embrace new technology.
BAE Systems is committed to solving the most complex problems our customers have.
Here at BAE Systems, we make the electric propulsion for hybrid drive buses.
Our production tempo has increased dramatically. We brought on a lot of new people. That's forced us to look at innovative solutions to build product correctly every time.
How do we do that? How did we do that? Is with mixed reality.
When I first tried a HoloLens, I quickly understood that this technology would have significant implications for our business and that we needed to get out in front of it. We had to find a platform that could help us scale, and that's when we began the conversations with PTC.
PTC's mission is to bridge the physical and the digital worlds, whether it's manufacturing, operating, or servicing physical products. We came along and we had a mixed reality solution to allow them to create experiences for the HoloLens quicker and more efficiently. It's all drag and drop. You don't need a lot of technical expertise. You get up and running right away. Just makes it a lot faster and easier to get a lot of people using the experiences that were created with our software.
PTC's mixed reality solution is allowing us to drag and drop our 3D models that we already have to create factory constructions to deliver to our production floor in hours, and that's a tenth of the cost.
We developed a step-by-step guide that lets the assembler completely assemble the battery.
You're not looking at this in 2 dimensions anymore on a screen that's far away from you. It's right in front of you.
The HoloLens has really become beneficial in allowing us to train new people on this product 30 to 40% more efficiently.
Using the HoloLens, I was able to cut my assembly time in half. We can understand and we can learn so much faster, efficiently, feel a part of this process.
Microsoft has really nailed the HoloLens platform, and PTC is helping us scale this affordably across the enterprise.
20 years ago, we didn't have personal computers on every bench. 10 years ago, we didn't have 3D printers. Now I can't imagine building without those. And I think this is what the HoloLens represents. It's the next step in the evolution of high-tech manufacturing.
The future of mixed reality is really exciting because the possibilities are endless. We're just starting to scratch the surface of it.
It really is endless what we're going to be able to do, where we can go. This is going to help us get there.
Okay, so that was just an example again, one customer, how they've adopted augmented reality. And the technology that you saw there is in the lab. It's part of this environment here, so hopefully you'll get to see that as part of your tour in the next section. So that's it from me. Hopefully you've now got a sense for the importance of these transformation centers, like the one that we've got here at IIT. And it's not just about it being important for PTC. I think it's important for the countries that they're in, because it's only through the adoption and the expansion of these technologies that you'll be able to sort of establish your country, India, as one of the sort of manufacturing nations during this period of disruption. 10 years from now, the manufacturing landscape globally will look different to the one it does that they have today. There will be winners and there will be losers. And we believe these centers are very much going to be driving the winners. So thank you very much for your attention. I'll hand back to Sam.